Sexual fetishes. I'm not one to judge. What people do behind closed doors is their business, provided they're not hurting anyone. Unless, if the person or persons is enjoying being hurt, that's fine as well. But I've never been able to understand foot fetishists. If you're going to get fixated about a part of a person's anatomy, why not pick something more interesting than their feet? For me, that's the most mundane and boring part of the human body. Foot fetishists are like if you met a petrol head and said, "What do you love most about cars?" and they replied, "The glove box." But now there is a company making sex toys catering exclusively for these male perverts. And I just want to say, if you're ever worried about some of the thoughts you had, you think you might be a bit deviant or a bit perverse and people might judge you, trust me, just have a look at the website I'm about to mention and you realise you're one of the most normal people on earth. Because I went on this site to check that this story was real, and I came off it after a few minutes wanting to wash myself with bleach and a fucking wire brush. Because the company in question is called Silicon Wives, and like the name suggests, they make what they call high quality, realistic sex dolls. Now you might have seen these things on television. They do look lifelike to an extent, and they're also the sort of idealised image of what some men think women should look like. Now, I've never used a sex doll, but I imagine you have to get it in position and then have your way with it. That must be like fucking a corpse, something which I also want to stress I've never done. And although they're called Silicon Wives, they also make male sex dolls so that straight women and gay men can also indulge in a bit of virtual necrophilia. But for the foot fetishist, they've got a product that resembles a pair of women's feet, and they are scarily realistic. Made of silicone, and what makes it odd for me is they've also got ankles and the bottom of the shins. It looks like they've just hacked the bottom of a woman's legs off. And for the foot fetishist, he can rub them or lick them and ultimately use the feet to pull himself off. But that's not where it ends, because that's not nearly fucking weird enough. No, the manufacturers say that also they can be used for a more, I love this, they call it a more traditional sex toy experience. Traditional. Like it's something we've all been doing for hundreds of years. Ever since in 1758, the 3rd Marquis of Cholmondeley shoved a pineapple up his arse. We've all done it. But in the top of these legs on these feet, the bit where you would expect there to be bones and muscle and the rest of it, there are artificial vaginas. So that the foot fetishist can get himself worked up into a frenzy playing with the feet, pop his todger into a rubber twat, and then yank on these fake ankles until he hits his vinegar stroke. To me, that doesn't sound erotic. It sounds like something out of a fucking horror film. And worryingly, these are one of the company's best sellers. These men are out there. How do we spot them? Well, there's two ways. Either they're going to be in charity shops sniffing the shoes, or if you go past a particularly horrendous road accident with limbs strewn everywhere, they'll be the blokes trying to have a wank onto their Macs.